Hello, welcome back. I'm Phoebe or Miss Holland to my students, and this is a very short introduction to adding a bass line in Soundtrap. So let's get started. So I have my drum sequencer here. We can listen to what that sounds like. And I have that looped for 8 measures. So it's just the same thing. It's a 1 measure composition that I copied 8 times, basically. So add a new track, go to guitar and bass. So this is the one that they've given us. Has a lot of reverb, and I don't think I want that one. I want something that sounds more synthy. So bass, synth, acid bass, sounds cool. About cold bass? Let's check that out. A little too Phantom of the Opera for me. Okay, let's go back to something like acid bass. Yeah. And even though there are parts of this instrument that I don't like, we can change that with effects later. So you can see that this keyboard here is like the actual notes that are being played. And then I'm just using my computer keyboard because I don't have a MIDI keyboard or a USB keyboard that can connect to a computer. So if you don't, it's no worries. You just have to get a little more fluent with your computer keyboard. So I know I want to play something like that. And we can actually hear like a pulse in that bass as well. So I'm going to try and play it without recording it first, just to explore. Start from the beginning again. Okay, I think I might want something like that. And also, I've explored this a little bit already. So what I would encourage someone to do if they're working with this and haven't like become a little more proficient with using the keyboard as a MIDI instrument, you can see like that I'm playing a B, the letter B on the keyboard, but it's actually G. All right, so let's record it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and so let's cut it down so that it ends right at 8 measures. And let's listen to it without any editing. Okay, so it fits in pretty well, but in case, I didn't play all the notes right at the right time, we can click Edit, Quantize, and let's do 1/16. So maybe if I was playing a little behind the beat, this lines it right up exactly. But just know that when you quantize something, it sounds less and less like a real person is playing it. So just be careful with that. So if we go to the piano roll, we can see our notes. So if I wanted to change some of the notes without actually playing the whole thing over again, and I might want to change some of these. Let's play it from right here. I don't think I want this note to be that. I want it to be here. Okay, now let's play it. Yeah, doo-doo-doo. I want that. Okay, so that's how you can select individual notes and change them. Okay, so if we go back to instrument instead of piano roll, we can see that there's all of these effects, and then there's effects that are a little more involved than just the basic ones. So I don't like how fuzzy it sounds. I want it to sound a little less bright. What I did was select a couple of different ones, one at a time, and like played with the scroll. So like if I click filter and then see, if you just use the extremes, then you can see like, okay, so that when I turn up the low cut, it means it's cutting out any sounds that are, or sounds that are below this hertz level. So it's going to sound much higher, much brighter. So I don't want that. Scroll back down and go all the way back to the beginning. Okay, so I want that muted effect, and I got it because I cut out the higher sounds. And you can add a ton of other effects. Not that this is really an effect, but I do want to change the volume to be a little bit lower because it's kind of competing with the drums. Yeah, okay. So we also know how to do automation. If you're in my music tech class, we know how to do automation in GarageBand, and this has a very similar function. So if you know how to do automation, then you might want to skip this part or just watch and see how it might be different in Soundtrap. So click this right here because it has, the symbols are pretty intuitive, and then add automation. So I want to do a pan. So if I start it from the beginning, we can see that this line is like central. So I'm assuming left or down is going to be left and up is going to be right. And let's see if I'm right about that. I want yeah, it would be easier to tell in headphones, but I can tell that it's coming mostly out of my left speaker. And then I want to add another dot right at the end and have it go all the way to the right, or upwards. Yeah, and I can tell that it ends up in my right speaker. So in headphones, it would be a lot more evident, like where the sound is going. And you can add more automations, sweep and volume, but I'm good for right now. So just save your project every once in a while. I would say if you do, I should have saved it after I recorded what I wanted to record, just in case your computer dies or something. It's good to have it saved. Okay, so I have an effect, an automation, an entire bass line that I composed along with my drum sequencer. And I have quite a lot there. We've done quite a lot. So you can always add more effects. You can always play around with, play around with automation. And you can always also record or change the kind of instrument that you're using as a bass. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a bass instrument or like an upright bass or an electric bass or a synth bass. It could be like we could go into strings and let's see, are there any free ones? See, we could choose a chamber double bass, or we could choose a cello instrument, a cello because it's a low pitched instrument. We could also choose like an organ or a female, or sorry, I'm reading this, female alto, female soprano, You could just put alto, soprano. It can be any gender. But, you can choose like baritone or tenor because those are lower pitched instruments. No, they're voices. The voice is an instrument. There's also brass and woodwinds. You could choose like a tuba or a trombone because those are also low pitched instruments. So there's so much to work with. All right. And make sure you're composing something that you can listen to 100 times over, because if you can't listen to it 100 times, your audience won't want to. Thank you for watching, and have fun in Soundtrap and have fun composing. Goodbye.